The Ninja War is too dangerous, run away and become a pirate. Chapter 1, Early Graduation News. The early morning light shines on Konoha Village. In Konoha Village Ninja School, 2s and 3s of ninja students have just finished exercising on the playground and are returning to the class. At this moment, these little ninja students who have just been trained are talking a lot. Have you heard? It is said that our group of ninja students will be graduating soon. I heard that the form of the front line has not been very good. It seems that it is time for us to go to the battlefield too. Battlefield. That's very dangerous. What are you afraid of? That guy Kakashi graduated and entered the battlefield at the age of 5, and now he's already a chunin. Looking at the group of ninja students who were talking a lot, with some excitement and longing, at the end, a ninja student who looked quite mature couldn't help but pouted. I really thought that if you go to the battlefield, you can make achievements and make a career. Except for those who have a background, the danger of going to the battlefield is a little less. Like us, aren't they all cannon fodder when they go there? Of course, he definitely wouldn't say such a thing. Anyone who has read the original book knows what the ninja village is like. Here, talking nonsense will really kill people. Although the ninja cultivation in Naruto world looks much better than the ninjas who were close to the dead in the history of Dongying, the core has not changed much. It is still a combination of intelligence agencies and violent agencies. Brainwashing and education must be indispensable, and the requirements for loyalty are even more severe. Therefore, seeing these excited classmates, looking like they were ready to go to the battlefield, Yang Tai could only complain twice in his heart. Naturally, nothing else will be said. As a civilian ninja orphan who came from the soul, Yang Tai in his previous life has naturally developed his own mature 3 views. Even if he grows up again from the baby Yang Tai in this life, he has been staying in Konoha Ninja for 10 years. The village was not assimilated by the environment and was brainwashed into an ordinary ninja in the Naruto world. Right now, he was just worried about the fact that he was going to the battlefield. Speaking of which, Shinobumura doesn't even pretend to be pretentious now. Directly asked us to graduate 2 years early. It seems that the situation on the front line is really bad, and I have to make plans earlier. In fact, although Yang Tai's talent is not very high, it can only be said to be ordinary, but whether it is self-discipline or mental maturity, it is far more than that of ordinary ninja students. Ninja schools are ranked in the top few, so his strength reached the graduation standard as early as 2 years ago. Able to use the 3-body technique in actual combat, the total of 10 ninja throws can reach 90 levels, skilled use of traps and detonating charms, plus similar melee martial arts. This is the so-called ninja school graduation standard. It can be seen that this standard is completely screening cannon fodder. Except for some family forces, ordinary ninja students can't learn a higher level of ninjutsu here. A character who creates some traps and delays time. Unless you not only have extraordinary talent, but also get the attention of nobles, just like Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Minato Namikaze, or change your life against the sky. Let's go to a dream. There is everything in a dream. Even if the geniuses like Minato and Orochimaru have reached the ceiling of ordinary people, there are no more learning resources based on the education method of ninja school alone. In the end, there can be no great achievement. This was originally the way for the senior ninjas and the major families to hold the civilian ninjas by the neck. For the seniors of the ninja village, the civilian ninjas had to rely on them and give their lives to them if they wanted to become stronger. For the major families, except for a few true geniuses, civilian ninjas are basically difficult to pose a threat to their status. And Yang Tai is not really a standard civilian ninja. His father who died was a medical chunin. Although he has sacrificed, he has left him a good legacy and a rather high pension. As well as some ninja training tips and medical ninjutsu. Unfortunately, learning medical ninjutsu is not so easy. There are high requirements for chakra control, changes in the nature of yang attribute chakra, and medical knowledge, so until now, Yang Tai has only learned one hemostatic technique. Among them, the most difficult thing is the change in the nature of the positive chakra. There is no shortcut to this thing. If you want to improve, you have to use the positive chakra to heal. The saddest thing is that maybe the change in the nature of the positive chakra you have practiced for a lifetime is not as good as the birth of a good child. Like Tsunade Haim, the young attribute talent is close to full level at birth. Even if Yang Tai can live to be 100 years old without eating or drinking every day, he is cultivating the change of the yang attribute chakra nature, and he is not comparable to the other party at all. Innate yang attribute chakra purity. Here, Yang Tai had just entered the class and sat down and was thinking about it when he heard hurried footsteps. Then a Chunin teacher walked into the classroom. "Classmates, you must already know the decision of the village." The gray-haired ninja who was blind in one eye glanced at a group of elementary school students in the class, a trace of unbearableness flashed across his eyes, and then said seriously, "Starting today, all 4th grade ninja students will graduate directly, grants the qualification of genin. Other ninja students can also take the graduation assessment directly if they are confident. Of course, the village is now at war with other ninja villages. Even a newly graduated shiminin, the mission to perform is very dangerous, and it is even possible to go to the battlefield, so please think carefully about graduating early." At the end of the day, the ninja teacher couldn't help but mention it. In the past few years, he has seen many of his students go out with satisfaction and come back miserably. Not even coming back at all. His subordinates are not elite classes, even the teachers who lead the team are ordinary chunin, and the danger is much greater than those of elite class members who are led by shangnin. Sure enough, Yang Tai sighed softly and muttered secretly. The worst result really forced us to graduate. If in another 2 years, Yang Tai is sure to learn a higher level of healing, then he can be directly transferred to become a medical ninja, and the safety is much greater than that of the frontline ninja. Although Tsunade Haim among the 3 once mentioned joining the medical ninja in the 3-person team. But just think about it, how can there be so many guys who understand medical ninjutsu in Konoha? Even until the finale of Naruto, most of the 3-person teams did not have medical ninjas. This kind of proposal is not realistic in the end. Unless it is an elite team that is really cultivated as a jounin, there will be a real elite medical ninja seedlings, who not only understand medical ninjutsu, but also have a fighting ability that is not bad. As for the general medical ninjas, they all sit directly in the camps at the rear. Even if something goes wrong on the front line, the first to retreat is this group of medical ninjas. Safety is naturally far better than ninjas fighting on the front lines. It's a pity that Yang Tai's dream has been completely shattered. He can't join the ranks of medical ninjas just by knowing a hemostasis technique. He can only continue to serve as those cannon fodder. So, Yang Tai closed his eyes and looked at the system in his mind. The charge is full, you can travel to the next world. I'd better escape from Konoha Ninja Village as soon as possible. The ninja war is too dangerous, run away and become a pirate. Chapter 2, Crazy Coin. As early as 5 years ago, this time travel system in Yang Tai's head was already full of energy. However, at that time, Yang Tai was just an ordinary 5-year-old child, and even chakra had not yet been refined. This ability ran across, unless it was a person who was similar to modern society and had a complete social security system. The country of peace, otherwise, the danger is probably greater than that of the ninja world. After all, in Konoha Ninja Village, he has a real identity, belongs to the war orphan, and has always been taken care of. He can also enter the ninja school for free and get the power to protect himself, and there is no danger, at least before the Nine-Tails Rebellion, Konoha Shinobi Village, has never been attacked by the enemy. In this case, Yang Tai will naturally not be idle and have nothing to travel through to find excitement. He has already learned from the system. Except for Hokage, this time is soul travel, or pure travel, the others are all real body crossing. What can a 5-year-old child do when he travels to another world? I really thought that when I came to the ninja world, it was Kakashi Uchiha Itachi, who went to the battlefield at the age of 4, and graduated from the ninja school at the age of 5. As early as it took half a year to extract chakra, and when he realized that his talent was mediocre, Yang Tai stopped dreaming of this kind of genius. Don't say anything about the genius Hitaki Kakashi, what the crane-tail Uchiha Obito, he can't even match the plot tool Rin Noara. A little girl can have eye replacement surgery at the age of 12 or 13. I don't know how much higher her talent is than him. Whether he is in his 20s or 30s can have such a level of medical ninjutsu, I can't guarantee it. In Kakashi's class, everyone who appeared in the comics was the elite of the ninja school. Even if it's Kai who looks indifferent, that's a figure who can rank in the top 3 in the entire ninja school, otherwise he won't be able to enter the elite class. So over the years, Yang Tai has been in the ninja school all the time. He has already planned his life. He graduated from the ninja school at the age of 12 and became a less dangerous medical ninja. He worked in the rear camp. After a war, when he was 15 or 16 years old, when Konoha Ninja Village was about to break out of the Nine Tails disaster, he directly traveled to the New World. When he was 15 or 16 years old, his strength should have been close to that of Chunin, and he also possessed medical ninjutsu that absolutely surpassed modern society. As long as it's not a chaotic world like Resident Evil, he can mix well anywhere. After all, he has no ambition to dominate the world, and if he just wants to live a good life, the strength of Chunin is enough in most worlds. Unfortunately, today's early graduation interrupted Yang Tai's plan, and he didn't want to be cannon fodder on the battlefield of the ninja world. Different from his classmates, Yang Tai has carefully counted the survival rate on the battlefield. It is hard to say for the elite class. The disability rate in the first year of the ordinary classmates who graduated from the previous class accounted for about 20%. The disappearance rate is about 50%. Well, Shinobu Village will not report the death rate, so those students who cannot be found can only be called missing by Yoda. Think better, maybe the missing people joined the Roots or Umbu. Of course, members of the regular class just graduated a year ago. Just adding Root and Umbu, in fact, it is impossible. There are also thresholds for Roots and Umbu, and even the garbage that cannot be tolerated is not qualified to be a dead man. So the so-called disappearance rate is actually no different from the death rate. This is only the first year, and in a few years, when the war ends, it will be considered a fortune if only 10% of them are left with all their legs and feet. Although he is a traverser, his strength is not bad in the ordinary class, but he is no different from an ant on the battlefield. Anything can happen on the battlefield, unless the guys in the elite class will receive some preferential treatment from the top, or have the strength of the ninja level. Otherwise, the difference in the strength of ordinary ninjas on the battlefield is meaningless at all, in fact, all by luck. At this moment, the students in the classroom heard the news of early graduation, and everyone was talking about it. After the teacher in the classroom finished speaking, he began to distribute the ninja forehead guard to the 4th grade students. Yang Tai smiled bitterly in his heart, and still reached out and took the forehead guard. Although I have decided to leave the Naruto world temporarily, I am not in such a hurry to leave. At least I have to go back and pack my things. Besides, even after becoming a genin, you have to go to the battlefield after a month or 2 of task adaptation period. Otherwise, if you directly take this group of newly graduated genin without any experience to the battlefield, it will basically be a large-scale ninjutsu on the opposite side. It's all paid off. The Konoha Ninja Village is indeed a cannon fodder for this group of shinobi to go to the battlefield, but at least it has to be a cannon fodder that can ease the war situation. If a large-scale ninjutsu can sweep a piece of it, then the Konoha Ninja Village will have a great number of people. There are so many, they can't afford it at all. In the past 2 months, the students of the Ninja Village will learn some combat experience from the Chunin teacher, teach some common skills, and then sweep some bandits from the land of fire. After seeing the blood, they can go to the battlefield. After the ninja teacher announced that the get out of class was over and they would be grouped into a team tomorrow, Yang Tai hurried back home. Yang Tai's original home was a standard one-family house, and it was most suitable for a family of 3, but for him, who is only 10 years old now, reading www.yuyukeungshu.com is a bit too big, and the hygiene is not easy to clean. So later he rented another apartment and sold one of his own buildings, in exchange for a large amount of money. In Yang Tai's opinion, if he hadn't sacrificed in the mission. When he graduates from the ninja school at the age of 12, he will become an adult in a few years. If he does not travel to other places, he will almost be able to earn the money to buy a house back. Although being a ninja has great danger to his life, at least in terms of income, definitely a high-income group. 1 tael in Naruto is about 10 yen. In other words, 2 taels is equal to 1 RMB. If you think about the income from those tasks, even ordinary genin can definitely be regarded as high-income people. After all, it is a profession with such a high mortality rate, and no one would be willing to do it if the money was given less. Closer to home, Yang Tai basically didn't spend much of the money he earned from selling a house, and at most he used it to buy some medicines to improve his cultivation efficiency. Of course, the effect is not very good. After all, his father is just an ordinary medical ninja, and the prescriptions left behind are far worse than those of the real big families. It can only be said that it is better than nothing. As for the remaining large sum of money, now is the time to really start using it. Detonating charms, military food pills, steel wires made of special metals, mixed with a small amount of chakra metal ribs, combat uniforms with a certain protective ability. Anyway, it is the last time. Yang Tai naturally began to throw coins frantically. Buy. It is not uncommon for him to throw coins like this. Especially the orphan ninjas who are going to the battlefield. Anyway, one person is full and the whole family is not hungry. Money is definitely not as important as life, and it has not attracted the attention of other people in Konoha Ninja Village. The ninja war is too dangerous. Run away and become a pirate. Chapter 3, Leave Naruto World. More than a month later. The ninja team that Yang Tai joined, and his leading teacher have nothing to say. The teammates of Volkswagen Face and the teacher of Volkswagen Face basically did not impress anyone. In the same way, they didn't go through any assessments like grabbing bells. Konoha Ninja Village can't wait to throw all the ninjas who meet the conditions and become qualified cannon fodder on the battlefield and return to the ninja school. Stop dreaming about spring and autumn dreams. Basically, after introducing each other, Yang Tai followed the dragon-set Chunin teacher to perform the task together. Fortunately, Yang Tai's treatment was good. After all, he was a medical ninja in the reserve. Even if he could only do one hemostatic technique, it would be very precious to such a cannon fodder ninja team. Therefore, he is still in a protected position in the squad. Not only that, but after Yang Tai gave him a rib that could be regarded as precious and contained a small amount of chakra metal, the Chunin also handed over his 3 sea-level earth escape ninjutsu to Yang Tai. The earth clone, snorkeling in the earth, plus an earth flow wall, the 3 ninjutsu are basically defensive, escape or deceive. It's no wonder that this Chunin has survived the cruel ninja world war until now. For this, Yang Tai certainly gave him a thumbs up in his heart, and hoped that he would continue to maintain it. Yang Tai has the 3 attributes of chakra, yang, water, and earth, so he can learn all these earth escapes. Although all of their ninja students are cannon fodder, it is obvious that Konoha paid a little attention when dividing the class, and basically all the ninjas with the same attributes are divided. But now, in more than a month, Yang Tai has only just learned the easiest earth avatar, and this is because he has the foundation of the avatar technique. There is also a reason for recovering a large number of chakras ration pills. Otherwise, even if it is a simple earth clone, he may have to spend several months. Many people have seen it in the original. Like Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto's training methods, they thought that ninjutsu practice only requires hard work, but in fact, it is the chakra volume of each ninja that really restricts ninjutsu practice. Especially for a young ninja like him, with his chakra volume. Basically, after training the earth clone 5 or 6 times, the chakra will be completely exhausted. If there is no military ration pill, it will take an hour for the chakra to fully recover, and then train 5 or 6 times, and in order to prevent serious overdraft injury to the body, the number of times the chakra is exhausted should not exceed 3 times, so he can only train a dozen times a day. The efficiency of this cultivation method can be imagined naturally. In order to improve the efficiency of cultivation, in addition to casting a good tire and having a large number of chakras, the best way is to eat Krypton gold and eat military food pills. It is also by relying on this method of kryptonite that Yang Tai can increase his efficiency several times and learn to clone himself. At the same time the 3 young ninjas also completed the task of seeing the blood and took down a few robber dens. When the war in the ninja world, like these bandits and robbers, like mushrooms after the rain, they grow wildly. So basically after graduating from the ninja students, they must first sweep the bandits of the fire country. After killing people, Yang Tai didn't have the nausea and vomiting mentioned in those novels, and of course, there was no antisocial personality who liked seeing joy and loved killing. If he really wanted to say how he felt, it was probably close to the appearance of completing a mission in a normal way. Perhaps it was also because of the time travel that made him not have much real feeling for other people in the ninja world, and he had no reaction. Anyway, Chunin, who led the team, was quite optimistic about his mentality, and he was much stronger than his two blushing and thick-necked companions. The safe time to practice hands quickly passed. Finally, on this day, Yang Tai and his team received a notice to report to the front line. The day is finally here. Sighing softly, Yang Tai slowly packed up his equipment, and even bought 2 high-priced seal scrolls. One scroll is full of supplies, the other is full of various weapons, and these 2 scrolls cost him a lot of money. In addition, he also exchanged some gold. After all, after changing to a strange world, the banknotes in his hands must have become waste paper, and gold, a hard currency, can be circulated anywhere. Well, it's best not to travel through Konoha Ninja Village. After all, if I go back and forth in the same place, maybe as soon as I come back, I will be surrounded by Konoha Shinobi Village. Yang Tai secretly thought about it for a while, and decided to go directly through the Konoha Ninja Village. The chakra system in the Naruto world is still very strong, and Yang Tai will definitely come back in the future, but it will take at least several years. He didn't think that when Konoha came back in a few years, Konoha Shinobi Village would turn a blind eye to him. The biggest possibility is that he was beaten as a traitor as soon as he came back. After all, he would not treat Konoha Shinobi. The ninja in the village explained what he could pass through, and he didn't want to go to the torture department to try the spiritual ninjutsu of the mountain clan. If you travel outside, there will be no such thing. After all, there are so many people in Konoha Ninja Village, and a few are missing, and no one will care at all. And not everyone is the kind of shinobi Uchiha Sasuke who has so many halos on his back. In fact, even if you have no important information on your body, even if you defect, Shinobu Village is too lazy to send people to hunt them down. As long as you don't take a betrayal and protect your forehead, you can jump in front of Konoha Ninja, or let yourself go. If you do things like massacres of civilians and robberies outside, Shinobi Village simply doesn't bother to care about you. Of course, the surveillance may be stricter in wartime now, lest there will be a large number of escapes. But no matter how strict the monitoring is, it is impossible to find Yang Tai who has traveled to other worlds. In the early morning of the next day, Yang Tai's ninja team walked out of Konoha's gate along the sunlight, and then on the way to the battlefield, the 10-year-old ninja disappeared inexplicably. In the place where he disappeared, there was no trace of battle, nor trace of his escape. After a few hours of searching, the Chunin who led the team gave up the search because it was almost time to report to the camp. The situation can only be reported to the senior Konoha in the camp. And during this time period, naturally, no one paid attention to a genin who just came out of the ninja school. He just added him to the missing list. Subsequently, after no trace of Yang Tai was found for several months, the original disappearance was changed to a suspected death, and after a year, it was completely changed to a state of death. In this way, the entire ninja world seems to have forgotten such a transmigrator who does not have much sense of existence. The ninja war is too dangerous. Run away and become a pirate. Chapter 4, Pirate World. Unexpectedly, there is a 5-minute delay even when crossing the world. Fortunately, I didn't use this ability to cross the world in battle, otherwise I would have to be unlucky. In a world of ice and snow, Yang Tai muttered to himself while walking. Seriously, he was really glad that he didn't take the ability to travel through the world as a trump card to avoid attacks in battle, and he didn't run into the ninja world with confidence because of this. Otherwise, the 5-minute delay would have killed him cleanly. Of course, the main question now is, which world did I travel to? Looking at the snowflakes in the sky and the snow-capped ground, Yang Tai scratched his head and said with some distress. Fortunately, as a ninja, he still has a little resistance to the environment, so even if he doesn't wear a lot, he just feels a little cold, but he is not frozen. Forget it, let's hurry up and find someone. Some tracking techniques he learned from the ninja school have helped a lot now. Soon, he can judge from the surrounding environment, which is most likely to have a residential area, and start to move there. However, after walking for a while, in the snowstorm in the distance, a huge figure with a cane appeared. What? Yang Tai thought it was a person, but after walking a few steps, he felt something was wrong, because the proportion of the person's body did not match that of a human being. And it must be too big. As he got closer, Yang Tai finally discovered the full picture of the creature. It was actually a huge white bear leaning on a cane, or in other words, a big white bear with a pickaxe upside down. The bear had a serious expression and walked slowly on the snow. It looked similar to the posture of a human, and judging from his eyes, it is obviously wise. Yang Tai hesitated for a moment. The psychic beasts in the Naruto world are also intelligent, so he doesn't have any other discrimination against these alien races, but he also knows that they are not my race, and their hearts must be different. Reason, let alone in a strange and different world, who knows what this big bear thinks of human beings. But in the end, he thought it was better to say hello. Of course, he had already prepared for the alert, and the detonating talisman Kunwu in his pocket was ready. Excuse me, have you seen other humans? Yang Tai took 2 steps closer and asked. However, the bear ignored him and just bowed to him. Yang Tai was taken aback for a moment, and bowed in return. Then the bear turned a blind eye to him and left. Hey! Forget it, I'm afraid it can't speak, but this guy's performance seems to have a sense of sight. Have I seen it somewhere? This should also be a world I am familiar with. Yang Tai scratched his head. 10 years have passed, and he has long since forgotten the contents of many various comics in the past, so for a while, he has not fully remembered where he came from. Forget it, let's go. It is estimated that we will be able to find a residential area soon. Climbed up a small hillside. Yang Tai looked up, and then saw a scene that surprised him. At the end of the line of sight is the vast sea, and where he is now is actually on an island. In the center of the island are some huge, cylindrical snow-capped mountains. This kind of scenery, coupled with the weird big bear I just saw, and the snow-capped environment, instantly revived Yang Tai's long-standing memory. One Piece. Drum Island. The one just now is the hiking bear. Yang Tai, who finally knew where he was, couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Although the One Piece world cannot be said to be safe by any means, it is not too bad, at least there is a certain basic order. Moreover, the place where he is now is only the first half of the Great Route, not a new world that is extremely chaotic. As a genin, his strength is naturally nothing in the entire One Piece world, but on this Drum Island, as long as he doesn't die, he doesn't have to worry about his own safety. And don't look down on shinobi being nothing in the world of shinobi. In fact, in the face of real ordinary people, it can already be called a little Superman. Blessed with Chakra's body, faster than a cheetah, stronger than a bear and tiger, coupled with various special killing techniques taught by the ninja school, even an ordinary genin can easily kill dozens of strong robbers. Empty. At least most of the so-called martial arts masters in classical martial arts novels can't beat this mass-produced cannon fodder. Not to mention that they also have amazing ninjutsu. Such a low-level thing as 3-body art is naturally not enough to watch in the Naruto world, but in other worlds, it is definitely a magical skill. In the Naruto world, in the 3-body technique, only the avatar technique is somewhat useful, but in other worlds, the most buggy thing is actually the transfiguration technique. Compared with the Naruto world, the stronger ninjas can basically distinguish the transformation technique, but in the pirate world, unless it is a guy who is very domineering, he can't tell the difference at all. Come out, the true and false of the transformation technique. There will be no more than 100 people in the entire pirate world with this level of domineering and domineering. In the first half of the entire Great Route, there are not many people who can be found, and on the Drum Island, there must be no such person. In other words, Yang Tai can live a very good life in this world with only the transformation technique he has learned. Let's take a look at the current One Piece timeline now. Damn it, I haven't read the manga for more than 10 years, and I've already forgotten about the One Piece timeline. But it's not a big deal. Go to the island to find someone and ask Roger the Pirate King. You can know the approximate timeline. I remember that Roger was executed 20 years before the Straw Hat Pirates went to sea. While thinking about it, Yang Tai also saw the smoke in the distance from the hillside, and was going to go there directly. However, with a strange sound, a strange white creature jumped out of the snow, with a height of 3 or 4 meters, a chubby body, huge forelimbs more than 2 meters long, and a fierce rabbit head. What is this, what? Yang Tai tilted his head, vaguely, as if he had some impression, but before he could dig out the complete memory from his mind, the strange rabbit had already come over. Judging from the fangs in the open mouth of that weird rabbit, I am afraid that this guy should not be a normal vegetarian rabbit, but definitely a meat-eating animal. Obviously, Yang Tai has now been treated as a good meal by this rabbit. Yang Tai smiled slightly, reached into his ninja bag, and took out a kunai with a detonating talisman. The ninja war is too dangerous, run away and become a pirate. Chapter 5, join the hospital. 10 minutes later. The two Laban rabbits were lying on the ground, looking completely surrendered. Blood was dripping all over his body, and his fur was fried black. Yang Tai wiped the sweat from his head, and a worried expression appeared on his face. If it wasn't for the detonating charm, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to fight these two rabbits. Damn, I'm afraid the physique of these two rabbits is more terrifying than the physique of Hunin. Of course, ninja battles are not purely based on physique, and with the blessing of chakra, pure physique is actually nothing. However, obviously, the pirate world is completely different from Hokage. Whether it is a human or an animal, the upper limit of its physique is far beyond the Hokage world. If you think about this kind of question, you can know that the people in the Naruto world are different from the people in the real world. Even the cells in the body are twice as many as those in the real world, and there are more chakras brought from Otsutsuki from the sky. This power system. And the gap between people in the pirate world and people in the real world is even bigger, like Kaido and Charlotte Lingling, saying that they have the same genes as people in the real world is an insult to people's IQ. For example, when Hatake Kakashi went to the battlefield and became a genin at the age of 5, it was already the limit. Charlotte Lingling, who can destroy a giant village at the age of 5, can never dream of such an exaggeration in the Naruto world. The battle between Yang Tai and the two rabbits just now can't be called dangerous. Basically, the two rabbits can't beat Yang Tai, and Yang Tai can't beat the two rabbits at all. Chakra's blessings on speed, sensitivity, and neural reflexes are quite high. Because of his young age, Yang Tai has put a lot of effort into this. No matter how high the attack power of the two Labangs is, there is no way they can hit anyone. Of course, if the kunai in Yang Tai's hands shoots at the powerful Laban, it can at most pierce a little skin, and probably won't even hurt the muscles. The exquisite samurai sword in his hand had at most a little blood. In the end, Yang Tai had to use the precious detonating talisman to attack, and only then did the two rabbits go down completely. However, after the two rabbits were beaten to the ground, it seemed that there was a 180-degree change, and they looked like they were the only ones who were obedient, as if they had been beaten in an instant. Yang Tai didn't feel too surprised. He seemed to vaguely remember that animals in the pirate world are like this. As long as they are convinced, they will listen to you. Not only that, the two Labangs are also quite intelligent. Yang Tai just asked them to show him the way, and the two rabbits took Yang Tai to the outskirts of a town very wisely. Okay, let's go, the two of you. After arriving at the destination, Yang Tai waved to the two rabbits, and used hemostasis to heal their wounds, and the two rabbits reluctantly said goodbye to Yang Tai. Yang Tai's hemostasis can only be regarded as a first aid method in the world of Hokage, but the two Labangs were only treated by him with hemostasis, and the injuries on their bodies were already good. Perverted to the point where Yang Tai gasped. These two rabbits are so abnormal. It's no wonder that the famous characters in the original book can recover completely within a few days, no matter what injuries they suffer. These guys in the pirate world are all monsters. The thoughts in his mind flickered, and Yang Tai walked into this town. The town doesn't look too lively. After all, it's freezing and snowing, so there are definitely not many people strolling outside. However, judging from the mental outlook and clothing of the townspeople, the people here seem to be living a pretty good life. Basically, everyone doesn't say they are refreshed, at least they don't have a frowning look. The clothes on his body are not gorgeous, but they are also warmer, and no one has a disheveled face. These people are doing pretty well, and there are quite a few medical clinics here. It seems that the person with the ability to swallow fruit hasn't come to power yet. Yang Tai vaguely remembered that the king of this country was a guy who ate a very powerful and perverted ton fruit, and ended up using it in extremely rubbish. When this guy was king, he seemed to drive out all the doctors in the country, making his country a mess. Even among the worst kings in the One Piece manga, this guy is the worst. Seeing that the guy has not yet come to power, the Drum Country is still a big medical country, and Yang Tai is quite happy. After all, as a medical ninja, he is also very curious about One Piece's medical skills, and the medical level here is definitely called it. It's black technology. If it can complement his medical ninjutsu, it can also improve his ability a lot. However, at the same time, he also heard the discussions of the surrounding townspeople. Where is this kid from? Wearing so little, wouldn't it be homeless? It looks so pitiful. Yang Tai twitched the corners of his mouth slightly, but he still walked over to the largest hospital in the town. Although he also really wanted to find Dr. Kureha, who lived for more than 100 years, to study medicine, but everything has a step-by-step process. At least he should first understand and learn about the world of pirates. Let's see what's the difference between the ordinary medicine in Hokage and Hokage. Little boy, what's wrong with you? Inside the hospital, a guy who looked strong, more like a butcher than a doctor, wearing a lab coat, looked at Yang Tai who came in, and asked curiously. No, doctor, are you recruiting apprentices here? I want to be an apprentice. Apprentice? The butcher doctor glanced at the little Yang Tai and waved his hand. What a joke, here we are. We have the most shortage of apprentices here. A blonde, blue-eyed, beautiful and exploding nurse walked out, looking at the young, cute-looking Yang Tai with a hint of maturity, with a motherly expression on her face. By the way, Yang Tai's appearance can only be regarded as a handsome little Zheng Tai in the Naruto world, but in the pirate world, he can be regarded as a handsome young man. After all, the average male appearance in the pirate world is slightly lower, and it may be added to the female. Cough, cough. Dr. Butcher coughed twice, and then saw the nurse turn his eyes to him. What's the matter with you, doctor? In the end, Yang Tai was surprised to see the doctor who looked almost like a butcher and blushed. No, boy, now you are an apprentice in our hospital. Well, it seems that the nurse in this hospital is actually in charge, but considering that One Piece has all kinds of wonderful things, compared to the serious and dark Hokage, it is much more joyful, and this kind of thing does not seem surprising. The Ninja War is too dangerous. Run away and become a pirate. Chapter 6, Covetousness for Ton Fruit. In this way, Yang Tai became an apprentice in the medical center. It was not until he joined the medical center that he learned that the doctor who looked like a butcher was named Jack and the nurse was named Ruth. Already engaged, it's no wonder that Ruth is the one calling the shots. Obviously, although this Dr. Jack has good medical skills, he can't do anything about his bronchitis. Dr. Jack reluctantly admitted Yang Tai to the hospital, but soon, when Yang Tai showed all his abilities, he found that he seemed to have picked up a treasure. Although the people of Pirate World are far better than Naruto World in terms of physique points, they are a little worse in terms of average intelligence points. In this world, there are a lot of little monsters who can tear up bears, wolves, tigers and leopards at the age of 10, but the number of guys who can recognize all characters at the age of 10 is not necessarily more than those little monsters. And a character like Yang Tai, who not only knows all the words, but is no less than an ordinary doctor in medical level, can be called a unique one. At least on Drum Island, this Dr. Jack has never I have seen this kind of genius. Moreover, Yang Tai not only has solid theoretical knowledge, but also has a good level in actual practice. After a few months, he has the ability to treat most common diseases. That's it, Yang Tai restrained his ability and didn't use chakra. Although in the ninja world, Yang Tai can't even be called a medical ninja, but it can only be said that the threshold for medical ninjas is too high. In fact, he can be called a qualified doctor. Moreover, the medical skills in the ninja world are very different from those in the world of One Piece. Therefore, his medical skills also gave Dr. Jack a refreshing feeling. Of course, in the past few months, Yang Tai has also absorbed a lot of new medical knowledge, and his level has greatly improved. In contrast, he even has the confidence to perform healing techniques. Generally speaking, the higher the level of medical skills, the lower the requirements for yang attribute chakra and chakra control when performing the healing art, and it can be regarded as using skills to make up for the lack of strength. On this day, Yang Tai had just treated a patient who was beaten up by the rabbit, but just happened to hear people in the hospital talking about it. Ah, I heard that our king is getting sicker and sicker now. That's right, it's a pity that our current second prince doesn't seem to be a good person. It's better than that big prince, right? He can put poison directly in the capital. Shen Yan, that eldest prince has been exiled to the country of fire. The corners of Yang Tai's mouth twitched. Well, did you think that there is also a country of fire in the world of One Piece? Don't tell me there is a Konoha ninja village in the land of fire. Of course, this is actually just the same name. After all, the authors of the two comics are both Japanese, so it is normal to have the same name. Yang Tai had no impression of the big prince. But for the second prince, Valbo, he was really impressed, especially the Tunton fruit. However, I have been living on this island for a few months, and from the current information alone, it seems that this Prince Walbo did not eat the devil fruit. Could it be that he got the devil fruit from the treasury after he became king? This kind of thinking is really not Yang Tai's random thinking. The current king of the magnetic drum country is not a Ming Jun, he can only be regarded as one of the bad people in the world of One Piece, not so bad. However, although this guy's character is not that good, he still has brains and reason. He knows that the drum country is his basic plan, and only when the country develops and grows can he get more benefits. And Yang Tai had learned from the conversations of these residents that the eldest prince, who he had never known before, used his devil fruit ability to almost kill the entire capital of the drum kingdom, and the reason, just because he thought it was funny on a whim. For this reason, even this king, who is not a wise king, could not bear this kind of thing and exiled his eldest son, and with such a lesson, it is naturally difficult for Valbo to eat before becoming a king. Devil fruit. As for the powerful Tunton fruit. Not in the treasury, but obtained by Valbo himself by chance. Yang Tai wouldn't believe this kind of thing at all, just like Valbo's bear, it doesn't look like a character with that kind of luck. Thinking of this, Yang Tai's heart couldn't help but feel a little hot. The devil fruit is analogous to the Naruto world, it is equivalent to the bloodstain boundary, the general animal type is equivalent to the ordinary bloodstain boundary, the more powerful animal type ancient species and superhuman type, and the weaker natural type. It is almost equivalent to the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, the immortal body, the wood dun and the chin dun, which are also top-notch powers in the ninja world. As for the top superhuman type, the animal type fantasy beast, and the powerful nature type, it is almost the eye of reincarnation, yin and yang escape. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.com. With Yang Tai's aptitude, even if he has the ability to travel between the two worlds of Hokage and pirates, the final achievement will not be too great. At the limit, this still has the relationship between the resources of the two worlds. And the devil fruit is undoubtedly the best chance for him to change his life against the sky, especially the Tun fruit, which is also called the top devil fruit in the superhuman system, and it will naturally help him even more. Thinking of this, Yang Tai suddenly had an impatient thought in his heart. He now has a clear understanding of the timeline he is in. One Piece Roger has been dead for 13 years, and there are only 7 left to fly out of the sea. 8 years, and when Luffy came here, the king seemed to have ruled Drum Island for a long time. In other words, the old king would die at any time. It fell into the hands of that idiot Valbo. After he had an idea for Tuntungwo, and in the past few months, he also learned a lot about the world, and Yang Tai didn't want to waste any more time. You can learn medicine at any time, but if you pass through this village, there will be no such shop. So the next day, he took a few days off for Dr. Jack and set off with a map to the capital of Drum Island. In fact, Drum Island is just a small island country. Although Yang Tai is only a genin, his speed is not slow at all. In just one morning, he has already arrived at the capital. It is said to be the capital. In fact, it is just a market surrounded by the castle. The size of the entire island is similar to that of a larger city. Therefore, the capital is naturally not that big. The population is probably even tens of thousands of people. Somewhat reluctantly. The ninja war is too dangerous, run away and become a pirate. Chapter 7, Substitute. However, although the permanent population is not too large, the capital is quite lively. Because the drum country is a well-known medical country, although it is not large in size and has a small population, its medical technology is well known in the surrounding waters. Therefore, many dignitaries and nobles who are sick have traveled thousands of miles. Seek medical treatment on the island. This can also be regarded as a significant boost to the island's economy. The reason why people here are relatively prosperous is because of these foreign populations. After all, in the world of One Piece, especially in places like the Great Route, can actually go out to sea by boat. It won't be the common people. Apart from those pirates, the rest are at least some rich people. These people come to Drum Island and naturally spend a lot of money. Even if the islanders drink a little soup, they will can have a good meal. Especially as the capital of Drum Island, the medical technology here is naturally the most advanced, and it is also a place where those rich foreigners gather, so it seems to be relatively prosperous. But this time, Yang Tai didn't come here to study medicine. His eyes turned to the tall castle in the middle, and he was also thinking secretly in his heart. A medieval castle with obvious features can stop some ordinary civilians, but for a ninja like me, this kind of castle with many dark corners. Basically, it is like there is no defense. Ninjas are originally a profession in the shadows. Even if the ninjas in Naruto world require more combat power, there are never less professors in the ninja school for lurking, eavesdropping, stealing information, stealing, espionage and other behaviors. And in the world of pirates, this can be called a dimensionality reduction blow. Unless the other party awakens the domineering, otherwise, Yang Tai is sure to sneak into most places in this world. The royal palace on Drum Island is obviously one of the most places. At night, Yang Tai came to the back of the castle secretly and silently. A high wall might stop hundreds or thousands of troops, but for Yang Tai, who has learned to use chakra to climb trees and tread water, no matter how high the city wall is, it doesn't make much sense. He easily walked up the wall and found a square window to turn in. Then, based on the knowledge he had learned in the ninja school, Yang Tai judged where the master bedroom of the castle was, and lurked silently all the way. When they see a guard or a maid, they hide on the ceiling, outside the wall, or in a blind spot they can't see. When they hear movement around a corner, they hide it directly or use the transformation technique to transform into other objects. Along the way, Yang Tai he exerted the latent ability that made Agent 007 stunned, and easily came to the door of a huge bedroom. Outside the bedroom door, two guards in armor stood. Yang Tai frowned slightly. Even if his lurking ability was good, it still belonged to lurking in the general sense, not the kind of stealth through escaping. When someone was watching, it was impossible to silently enter the bedroom. Inside. However, he only frowned slightly. Reaching out, he took out 2,000 copies from the ninja bag, waved his hand slightly, and immediately stabbed the necks of the two guards. The eyes of the two guards popped slightly, and then they fainted silently. Although Yang Tai didn't have the ability to use 1,000 acupuncture points like Shiro, he smeared the nerve anesthetic on the 1,000 books. The two guards, at most a little bit stronger than ordinary people, naturally can't stand this special anesthetic for ninjas. Seeing that the guard was about to fall to the ground, Yang Tai's figure flashed, and he came to the two of them, supporting them against the wall. The two of them were still wearing armor, and they would definitely make a loud noise when they fell to the ground. Yang Tai didn't want to disturb the others. He pushed open the door and walked in. In the center of the bedroom is a luxurious big bed, on which lies an old man who looks like a sick chirp, and next to his pillow, there is a crown. The old man slept soundly. Yang Tai took a careful look, took out some potions from his arms, and poured it into him gently. In the middle of this, the old man woke up a bit, but soon the drug attacked, and he became stupefied again. Really, it's a pity that I haven't learned much illusion. I only know some simple theories, otherwise it would be much easier to hypnotize. Yang Tai muttered twice, but although he had never learned illusion at all, chakra can also be used for some hypnotic effects. After all, even if there is no specific illusion in the ninja school, some theories and methods of how to decipher illusion are still mentioned. As long as you study it, you can use some illusion skills. Moreover, the medicine formulated by Yang Tai has a hypnotic effect in the first place. Adding the two together, it is naturally easy to deal with an ordinary old man. The king in front of him was already stunned. Yang Tai nodded with satisfaction. A slight chakra fluctuation enveloped the old man's head. Yang Tai asked, "Where is the treasure house of the magnetic drum country?" Where is the devil fruit hidden? The old man tremblingly said the location of the treasure house, but fortunately, the devil fruit was originally placed in the treasure house. Yu reading www.yuyukeungshu.com. However, just after he finished speaking, he rolled his eyes and foamed at the corners of his mouth, even though he caught a cold. Yang Tai was slightly surprised. He didn't remember the deadly effect of his medicine, but then he checked the king's body and found that the old man was exhausted, even if Yang Tai's hypnotic medicine was irritating not strong, but it also exhausted his last vitality. Scratching his head, Yang Tai sighed, "It wasn't my intention." Of course, judging from the old man's physical condition, even if Yang Tai didn't show up, he would die naturally in a couple of days. What's more, he was just an ordinary king, and Yang Tai didn't feel any guilt in his heart. And the old king died just like that, which is a good thing for Yang Tai, and it can make his actions go more smoothly. First, he checked the old king's body, and then put the old king's body directly into his seal scroll. Afterwards, Yang Tai performed the transformation technique and turned into the image of the old king. After a few coughs, Yang Tai's voice became the same as that of the old king. I have to admit that although the voice-changing technique taught in the ninja school is low-end, it can only be regarded as a kind of chakra application skill, and it is not called a chakra application skill at all. What kind of ninjutsu, but it is definitely convenient to use. Pushing open the door, Yang Tai first detoxified the 2 guards at the door, and then after the 2 guards woke up, he scolded the 2 guards who were sleeping while guarding the door. Although the 2 guards felt that something was wrong, nothing happened. Naturally, the 2 of them won't express their doubts, and they're just looking for no fun. After that, with 2 guards, the old king swaggered towards his treasure house. The ninja war is too dangerous, run away and become a pirate. Chapter 8, Swallow Fruit. Lord King. In front of the treasury were 2 more armored guards. Seeing the arrival of the king played by Yang Tai, the 2 of them hurriedly saluted. Open the treasure house, I want to count. Yang Tai raised his head slightly and said. Yes, Lord King. Without any hesitation, the 2 guards took the key from Yang Tai and pushed open the door of the treasure house. This kind of thing seems a bit sudden, but Yang Tai learned early on that this king really likes to count his treasure house. It is said that when it was serious, he once counted his treasure house more than 10 times a day. This is also the reason why he didn't wait until the next day to come to the treasure house. After all, there are many dreams at night, and he has no memory of the old king at all. If someone asks some questions that he doesn't know the answer to and finds something wrong, then he will really dumbfounded. The treasure house is full of splendor. Although the Drum country is only a small country, because it is a well-known medical country, there are many rich people who come to seek medical treatment, so the country's income is also quite large. And it is precisely because the country is small and the number of people is small, so the amount of gold that needs to be handed in is not large, so there are really many treasures in the treasury. Fortunately, there is only 1 devil fruit in the treasury, otherwise Yoda would probably have to scratch his head. He didn't know what Tunton fruit looked like. Picking up the devil fruit with a strange pattern in his hand, Yang Tai casually weighed it twice, but didn't eat it directly. He still remembered that after Luffy had just eaten the devil fruit, his whole body became a puddle of ooze, and he couldn't control himself at all. In this situation, it is naturally not a good time to eat devil fruits. So Yang Tai opened the seal scroll again, put the devil fruit in first, then scavenged billions of Baileys and gold from the treasury, as well as a good knife, and found a surprise in the treasure house, a domineering book practice manual. Put all these harvests into the scroll, and then walked out swaggeringly. After he came out, the guards were still a little surprised. Why was the king's time to count the treasury so short this time? However, this is not a question that several guards should ask. The 2 guards closed the door of the treasure house. After locking it, he handed the key to Yang Tai. Yang Tai took the key and returned to the bedroom again, then took out the old king's body again and put it on the bed. Afterwards, he did the same, and after knocking out the 2 guards, he quietly left the castle. He was not worried about what the 2 guards would say. After all, although the death of the old king had something to do with his medicines, he actually died of exhaustion. Any qualified doctor would know that his life is up. If the 2 guards keep their mouths shut, then the old king is just dead old age, and it has little to do with them, but if the strange coma among them is also revealed, it is very likely that he will be labeled as a weak defense. How to choose, is naturally very clear. Besides, even if it is said, it is impossible to find yotai with the investigation ability of One Piece world. The next morning, Yang Tai, who had returned to the hotel, looked at the devil fruit in his hand and ate it with a frown. Ugh! It really lives up to its reputation, the smell of devil fruit. After eating all the devil fruits, Yang Tai felt that a strange change had taken place in himself. He glanced at the samurai sword on his waist. He seemed to smell a cream-like fragrance in his nose. At the same time, a strange feeling told him that he could completely eat this samurai sword. Opening his mouth, Yang Tai's mouth became wider and wider. In the end, it reached an unbelievable limit and swallowed the samurai sword in one bite. The strange taste flowed in his mouth, like a biscuit, before he could recall the taste of the samurai sword. He felt a strange change in his body, a cold energy flowing in the body, and he could show this energy in any part of the body at will. Yang Tai stretched out a hand. Soon his hand turned into a metallic appearance, and at the same time, his fingernails turned into sharp blades with a length of 10 centimeters. With a single stroke, they left traces on the table. Is this the power of Tun fruit? The fusion of two completely different substances into one. However, it seems that these energies have not been digested by me. They just merged with me in an energy state and changed my shape. Thinking like this, he then pulled out that energy, opened his mouth wide, and spit out the samurai sword again. Perhaps when I develop Tun fruit to a certain extent, I can permanently digest this energy, and at that time it may even strengthen my body permanently. Of course, Yang Tai only thought about this kind of thing for a while. With his current ability, he is still far from the awakening of fruit development. What he got from the Drum Kingdom's palace was not just such a devil fruit. Reading www.yuyukeungshu.com also has a good and fast knife and a training manual that is arrogant and domineering. However, although the Liangkuai Dao is good, it is of no use to the current Yang Tai. The Liangkuai Dao is about 1 meter 4 in length. In terms of height, it is slightly higher than the current Yang Tai. Ordinary basic swordsmanship, so he couldn't use it at all. If you use it reluctantly, I am afraid that instead of increasing your combat power, it will reveal more flaws. However, this thing can at least be used as the material for him to swallow the fruit, but it is not completely useless. What fascinates today's Yang Tai the most is naturally the domineering training manual. You must know that it is very rare for a domineering training method to appear in the first half of the Great Route. It was not until he opened it that he found out that this domineering training manual was actually left by a doctor, so it is no wonder that it appeared in the treasury of the magnetic drum country, a big medical country. And the domineering in this domineering cultivation manual is more inclined to observe the human body, even the internal organs, bone marrow, brain, and some subtleties. Obviously, the person who wrote this domineering book is probably a doctor, not a soldier. However, for Yang Tai, it doesn't make any difference. To put it bluntly, it's just a subtle application of the arrogance of seeing and hearing, and it doesn't affect his perception and combat functions. But the crux of the question is, can I wake up to being domineering? I'm not from the pirate world. You must know that there is a huge racial gap between the people in the pirate world and the people in the Naruto world. If nothing else, there are even people in the pirate world who are naturally awakened and domineering, but there has never been such a person in the Naruto world. The ninja war is too dangerous, run away and become a pirate. Chapter 9, Future Trouble. Although he had doubts in his heart, Yang Tai didn't give up on exercising. And he found that after eating the Tun fruit, his physique also changed a lot. Although the strength and speed did not increase on the surface, the change of the positive attribute of chakra in his body suddenly improved several times. The increase of yang chakra will bring about a substantial increase in the speed of the body's recovery. Similarly, if the vitality of the body increases greatly, it will also increase the positive chakra to a certain extent. In order to confirm his conjecture, in the past few days, Yang Tai gave up his chakra practice and started to exercise his body instead. Originally, with the physique of a 10-year-old child, even the potential of a Naruto world person is far superior to that of ordinary people on Earth, but without using chakra, he is at most equivalent to an ordinary adult. But now, he feels that his strength has greatly increased after one exercise, and no matter how much he exercised on the first day, as long as he sleeps, he can be full of energy the next day, and he can continue to exercise without any sequelae. I knew that my body had indeed changed. The power of his own body began to be slowly brought into play when he constantly challenged the limits of his own body. After 10,000 punches, the next time you punch 10,000 times will be easier. After running for tens of thousands of meters, the next run will be easier. As long as he keeps exercising, as long as he can persevere, as long as he has enough energy, he can become stronger indefinitely. Of course, with the same increase is his appetite. The food in the world of pirates is also very different from that in the world of Naruto. It is rich in nutrients and delicious at the same time. Most importantly, it also contains a kind of power that is close to the yang attribute of chakra. Even before Tunton Fruit changed his physique, Yang Tai had discovered the benefits of these foods. With the supplement of these foods, Yang Tai was even confident that he could double the amount of chakra when he became an adult. But after eating the Tunton Fruit and his physique began to approach the people in the pirate world, he really discovered that the food in the pirate world, only when matched with their physique, can they show their true potential. There is no other reason, it is because people in the world of pirates have more appetite. Now, after each exercise, he eats more than 10 times as much as before, and it is still increasing. At the same time, his digestive ability is also amazing, if he could get it out of food. If he extracts 20% of the nutrition, now he can almost extract more than 90% of the nutrition from each serving. The head here may have the effect of swallowing the fruit, but the physique of the pirate world must also be of great help. Perhaps it's because the devil fruit is a rule fragment of the pirate world, so after eating the devil fruit, the physique will be closer to that of the pirate king's world. Yang Tai can only make this kind of conjecture. No matter what, this is a good thing for him. In particular, he found that Tunton Fruit can absorb and store a lot of nutrients, and even eat food that is several times his body weight, and then exercise at one time to greatly increase his physique. Of course, it was the first time when he used Tunton Fruit for the dry rice experiment, and it was the first time that the 3 chefs in the entire restaurant collapsed to the ground. Just have to list him as the most unwelcome customer. A week later, when Yang Tai returned to the hospital, he saw Jack and Ruth packing their bags. "What's going on here, Dr. Jack?" Yang Tai looked at the two of them and asked inexplicably. Jack glanced at Yang Tai and sighed. "You came back just in time, apprentice, pack your bags and come with us." "Master, are you stupid? The hospital is running well, why are you leaving?" Jack didn't answer, but Ruth's face showed anger. It's not the newly appointed king who actually issued some laws for hunting doctors. There is no way to stay in this broken place like Drum Kingdom. I really want his dogs, beep dash, like brain to pour, beep dash, into his brain, so that his, beep dash, like, beep dash. Sister Ruth scolded and scolded almost all the 18 generations of Valbo's ancestors. After a while, she calmed down. Yang Tai scratched his head, and then he recalled the good deeds Valbo, the foolish king, did in the original book. Yes, the old king has already died. The current king is that idiot. How could I forget about this? Thinking of this, Yang Tai frowned. "Teacher, I'm afraid I can't leave with you." "What nonsense are you talking about?" The tall Jack frowned, glanced at Yang Tai, and then asked strangely, "It feels like I haven't seen you for a few days, you seem to have grown a lot taller." Although it has only been a few days, with that kind of exercise, Yang Tai's pure physical strength has almost doubled. Can you not grow taller, let alone grow taller? If Yang Tai takes off his clothes, Jack will probably find that although he is young now, he is already a beautiful muscle with a streamlined body. I didn't say anything stupid. Yang Tai shook his head, and I think you can stay for a few days, teacher. I believe things will change soon. Ruth was stunned for a moment, looked at Yang Tai worriedly, and Jack immediately said, "Little apprentice, don't do anything stupid." Although they have only been together for a few months, Jack and Ruth also realized that Yang Tai's identity should not be very ordinary. A doctor is a profession with the most thorough understanding of the human body. Cover up in front of the doctor. For example, the calluses on the tiger's mouth, the distribution of muscles and tendons in the body, and some subtle scars. These traces reveal that although Yang Tai is young, he was definitely not an ordinary person before. From Jack and Ruth's point of view, Xiao Yangtai was probably either a killer or an agent before, and it was estimated that he was a child who escaped from a dark organization. But I have to admit that the brain holes of these two are really right. If an organization like Konoha is in modern society, or even in the world of pirates, it is probably the kind of dark organization in the world of pirates. It can make 7 when an 8-year-old child goes to the battlefield. It is properly a dark organization. And the nature of the work of ninjas is really no different from that of killers and agents. Seeing the worried expressions of the two of them, Yang Tai felt a little warm in his heart, but at the same time he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Don't worry, this kind of thing is really not difficult for me. After all, the Drum Country is just an ordinary small country. When these words came out, Jack and Ruth looked at each other. Yang Tai didn't talk to them further, and disappeared in front of them in a flash. The two of them were stunned. The ninja war is too dangerous. Run away and become a pirate. Chapter 10, Kill Another King. What Yoda used just now was naturally the unique telekinesis among Naruto. Shunjutsu is not just a ninjutsu, but a kind of ninjutsu as big as clone jutsu. There are many types of avatars, such as shadow avatars, water avatars, earth avatars, thunder avatars, and illusion avatars, and the avatar avatars naturally also have physique avatars and chakra avatars. Even the spacetime flying thunder god can be regarded as a kind of instant body technique. And what Yang Tai just used was the instant body technique, which was a combination of taijutsu and chakra, which was the lowest level and most commonly used instant body technique. This is also the legacy left to him by his Chunin father, but before his physique and chakra were not up to the standard, he just didn't cultivate it at all. Now that his physique and chakra have soared, he can barely use it. Jack and Ruth were shocked when they saw Yang Tai's move, and they also had some confidence in him. However, at the corner of the wall, Yang Tai, who had just finished pretending to be aggressive, was not in a very good condition. He rubbed his legs desperately, bared his teeth for a long time, and recovered after a while. Sure enough, it's still a bit reluctant to use this kind of instant body technique now. It can only be used to pretend to be coercive. Is there no practical value at all? Yang Tai, who had recovered, muttered a few words. If it wasn't for the confidence of Jack and Ruth, he didn't want to suffer to save face. That night, Yang Tai, who came to the castle again, made a plan and sneaked into the Drum King's palace again. I haven't seen you for a few days, and the guards of the Drum King's palace have gotten worse. Yang Tai didn't know very well that Valbo, a savvy pirate king, started to do things backwards after the old king died and he took the throne, so people in the entire palace were panicked. Especially after he discovered that the Tunton fruit and many Bailey's gold in the treasury were missing, he suspected that the guards of the palace had stolen it by themselves, and had already put many guards in prison. Naturally, under this situation, the defense of the palace was even looser. Yang Tai calmed down, and then began to in the palace, because this time, he did not find the figure of the new King Valbo in the master bedroom, so he could only the palace again. But think about it, the old king died in that master bedroom. Just to avoid bad luck, it is impossible to live there again so early. However, Yang Tai also groped for a while and found the location of Valbo, because this guy hasn't slept yet and is having a banquet in the palace. In addition to Valbo, there are many ministers in the palace. There is a rectangular table in the hall of the palace, and the table is full of delicious food. In addition, there are many beautiful maids who serve everyone like wearing flowers and butterflies. Yang Tai's eyes lit up slightly, and he immediately performed the transformation technique, turning into a beautiful woman with a bulging front and back, and then quietly knocked out a maid, and walked towards Valbo with a dinner plate. Valbo was drinking 5 and 3 dishes at the moment, and he didn't care. He waved his hand dizzy. Yang Tai put down the plate, and when he left, he casually stretched out his hand and flicked a piece of paper, which happened to be caught in the back of the wave. Then, he left quietly and silently. When he just walked out of the hall, after unlocking the transformation, he immediately found a window and turned out, jumped directly down, hooked the window sill with a steel wire, and slid down quickly with one hand, landing on the ground below. At the same time, there was a rumbling sound of explosion in the palace, followed by a screeching sound of walking around and crying, vaguely interspersed with, "Call the doctor. The king is dead." There was a slight smile on the corner of Yang Tai's mouth. The ball of paper he had just flicked into Valbo's collar was actually made of 2 detonating talismans. When an explosion occurred so close to the head, even a character of the level of the 3 major naval admirals, without elementalization or defense, would have to suffer an eardrum perforation, let alone a Valbo. Without eating devil fruits, Valbo's physical fitness is just like a normal person among pirates. It is estimated that his entire head was blown up. What kind of doctor can rescue him? After leaving the palace, Yang Tai then performed the transformation technique, turning directly into a Laban, and began to run wildly. At this moment, the Drum Kingdom's palace is in chaos, and some guards have begun to search everywhere, and even want to block the entire city. However, no matter how the guards searched, they would not suspect a rabbit, and knowing that this animal was short-tempered, they unknowingly stayed away from Rabbit, who was running wild. In just a few hours, Yang Tai returned to the medical hall. Although the matter was settled, he was still a little unhappy. "I knew earlier that I would have killed Valbo when I went to the palace for the first time. I wasted my time. One day at a time." However, when he returned to the town, the news of Valbo's death had not yet come, so he secretly went back to the hospital first, and went straight to his room to sleep. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.com. On the second day, I heard noises outside. Yang Tai stood up. "What's going on outside?" Yang Tai just opened the door, just in time to see Ruth and Jack with happy faces. "Yang Tai, why are you here?" "Yesterday." The two of them looked surprised, and Yang Tai waved his hands. "What is today and yesterday? Didn't I come back yesterday? I don't understand what you are saying at all. You haven't told me what's going on outside." At this moment, the two of them understood what Yang Tai meant, and the corner of Jack's mouth twitched, but he still said, "Oh, our new king was killed by an assassin because of an accident, and we are in mourning now." While speaking, Jack also took out eye drops and put it into his eyes twice, making it look like he was shedding tears. It was his expression, no matter how he looked at it, it looked like he was crying with joy. This king is dead again, so who is the new king? It won't be the exiled eldest prince, right? Yang Tai touched his chin and said. Jack shuddered. If it's the eldest prince, then let's leave as soon as possible. This guy is even more unreliable than Valbo. I don't want to be killed by his poisonous gas one day. Yang Tai pouted, One Piece is really a rotten world. The so-called upper beam is not right and the lower beam is crooked, and the world government is just like that. Of these ordinary kingdoms below, few can be called qualified kings. But I don't think it should be the eldest prince. After all, the madman is crazy, and the ministers can't bear it. His mycelium poison is indistinguishable. Jack thought for a while, then said again.